Hello everyone, we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, and I want to just say that there are still seats available here in the front. If you're not able to find seats in the back over there, thank you. And we're going to start in just like 1 to 2 more minutes. We're going to try to give Terry some time to get over here.
이걸로 연결하려니까 비디오가 안 들어가네 또. 잘 핸드폰으로 잡히고.
Hello. If you have an empty chair beside you, can you please raise your hand if there's an empty chair? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, we have where there are raised hands, there are seats available, and then we're just encouraging people. You know, we're all family, one heart, one home, one family. Come together. Don't be shy. Sit next to each other. So yeah, especially let's continue to prioritize the elderly who might not have seats too. So thank you so much for coming.
그거로 들어가면 인터넷 잡혀있어. 며칠 핸드폰에서
Winnie, let's go. Hey, James, bring the chair. Chair.
내일부터 시간 안 돼. 한국에서 이거하고 연구하고 연결하는 거라고. 그러니까 이거를 어떻게 와이파이로 잡으셨나요? 이제 되는 것 같은데?
All right.
That is whatever that shit is. I don't know.
So we're going to get started with a big group photo with all of our candidates here. If you are also a candidate running for office, like I see Sarah Runbaugh, who's running for office, Latasha Palmer was just over there. I know that she can come up front. Yep, Latasha, come on up. We're just going to take a group photo. Any candidates who are running for office? All right, and then could you please? If you could please rise for our national anthem, Good Morning. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in there, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you so much, and welcome to our ANHBI Candidate Forum. I had the honor of bringing up the man who actually co-led this 30 years ago, Greg Tambara with Minan Hodge. So let's bring up Greg.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. You know, first thing I want to let you do here is I want to welcome everybody to the Asia Pacific Cultural Center. Lua, give us a wave. Where are you? Hey, there's Lua back there. Other staff of the APCC, if you could just wave your hands so people know who you are, great. Thank you very much. So, self-introduction. I used to work for the Tacoma Pierce County Health Department. I'm retired now, but I have lived in this community for a long time. My first election was, my first opportunity to vote was in 1972, when they changed the Constitution and allowed 18-year-olds to vote. We have a very packed agenda this evening, this candidates forum. You'll remember this flyer. We're going to hear from all of these folks. The first part of the program is going to be some questions that everybody's going to have an opportunity to answer. Our moderators will lead them through those questions, so you'll get a chance to hear an awful lot from them. But I hope that everybody has one of these 3x5 index cards, because this is your opportunity to write down a question that you have. Does everybody have one of these? You can get some from where? Right in the back, okay? So, please submit your questions. We will be gathering these questions just before our first break, which will include a little bit of entertainment, and then our candidates will have an opportunity to answer those questions in the second half. Real quickly, I think it's also important, I just point out, our restrooms are over here. Our exits, we got 3 exits, so if something happens and we need to exit the room, just walk to one of the 3 exits here and 2 in the back. And I think, Marquise, that's about all I wanted to share. I am really happy to see so many people here. We have a standing room only crowd. Probably a couple hundred people here. So just real quick, in terms of the communities that are here, the Tacoma Pierce County communities, especially people living on the east side and the south end, are there people from the Vietnamese community here? Just wave at me. Okay, all right. The Cambodian community? Yeah, all right. How about the Korean community? Yeah! Let's go. Japanese community? Woo! Yeah, I'm here, okay. Other Filipino community. Other ethnic communities. All right, over here. Raise your hand. Who else? Who else is here? Thailand. Okay, Thailand's here. Yeah. Okay. Who else? Someone. Mongolian communities here too. All right. Ukraine is here. We have a good mix of people.
And I also see Congo's in the house.
Okay. All right. Who have I missed? Anybody else?
Who else did we miss? Which country? Which country? Guam.
Wow.
Okay.
And then we have Hawaii. I heard Hawaii over here.
Let's go over there. All right.
And Samoa. I see Samoa.
So
India is also in the house, of course.
my last question is, how many people, is this your first candidates forum? Just raise your hand, please. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. This is a very important part of democracy in this country and in this community here. So I want to thank you very much for spending your evening with us. And now we'll turn it back over to our MCs.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Let's give a hand for Greg, please. You're an icon in our community. So my name is Sam Sim. I'm the Vice President of Greater Seattle Korean Association. And this is my lovely co-host, Mary Chris Valdez Castro, who needs no introduction.
Love you guys. I also work here at EPCC, but I also serve as a Commissioner for Immigrant and Refugee Affairs for the City of Tacoma.
Let's go. All right. We want to just take a moment to thank our co-sponsors. So, of course, we want to thank Asia Pacific Cultural Center, Greater Seattle Korean Association, Tacoma Korean Association, and Federal Way Korean Association, also Tacoma Community House, Asia Pacific Islander Coalition of Washington. That's a mouthful, but I got it this time. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Yeah, those are our main sponsors. So, our President Kim was supposed to be here to say a few words. He was not able to. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna get in big trouble if I don't say thank you to APCC for all the food and for teriyaki, etc. My wife, who donated all the food to Okay, our President Kim couldn't be here. He apologizes. He was feeling a bit under the weather, but we would just briefly like to ask President Kim of Tacoma Korean Association to come up and share a few words. 해주님 오세요. 이쪽에 오세요. 네. Let's give President Kim Tacoma Association a big hand. Thank you.
Thank you everyone tonight. I'm a Korean Association President, Korean Chang Bom-jin. Tonight I'm very happy because everybody come together. We are candidates forum. Thank you tonight.
Okay, next, we also have here with us Casey Jung. Casey Jung is with King County Elections. Now, let me just explain. If you, Mary Chris will mention this, but if you look in the back, we have a table there, voter registration booth. Yeah, wave your hand, Kenny. Yes, we have multiple languages there, and of course, English. If you haven't registered to vote, this is the whole reason why we're here, is to vote and for us to have a voice. This is why we're doing this. And so it's very important, so please stop by. Casey Jung represents King County Elections. Now, even though it's King County, she represents all of Washington State because her goal is for a voice of our communities and also, of course, the next generation to ensure that we're represented and we have a voice. So let's all please welcome Casey Jung, King County Elections.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here with so many engaged community members, neighbors, leaders, and change makers. Events like this remind me why I do the work I do to help make civic participation more accessible, more inclusive, and more powerful. I juggle a lot of roles in my daily life, some official, some personal. But tonight, I'm here in the most important role of all, as a voter. I work for the King County Elections, so yes, I know the deadlines, the drop boxes, and the ballot designs, and so on. But I'm also a naturalized citizen, which means I had to earn my right to vote. And when you had to earn it, you never take it for granted. Voting isn't just a civic duty, it's declaration. It says, I care about my community, my future, and yes, even my powers. Because local elections shape our daily lives in a way we often don't realize until the decisions are made. So, please, vote. Raise your voice. Don't let somebody else choose your destiny. You've got one heart, one voice. Make sure yours is heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we're going to do our land acknowledgement. Good evening. We gather here in Tacoma on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Puyallup tribe of Indians, the Spuyallup, which translates into people from the bend at the bottom of the river. We honor their sovereignty, the treaties that remain, the law of the land, and their continuing stewardship of these lands and waters. We pay respect to elders past and present, and to indigenous peoples who live, work, and learn, and lead here today. Acknowledgement is only a beginning. It calls us to relationship and action, supporting Puyallup-led initiatives, learning local histories, and making choices that uphold treaty rights and the well-being of Native communities. With gratitude, we commit our time tonight to thoughtful dialogue worthy of this place and its First Peoples.
Great, thank you very much, Mary Chris. Isn't Mary Chris great? Let's thank Mary Chris again for that. No. So, really quick story. Like when we first started planning this with Mary Chris, my very first question to you is like, Mary Chris, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you. But what are we going to wear, girl? We got to coordinate. So I hope you can notice that we're wearing our own kind of ethnic, kind of traditional dress, and so doesn't look great. All right. Okay. So next up, we're going to introduce our moderators, and so if I call your name, please stand. So our moderators tonight, which will be asking our candidates the questions. First up, we have Alice Fong. She loves walks in the park and curling up to a nice book. Welcome, Alex. Okay, and our second moderator tonight will be Syed Jamal. Syed likes movies and eating lots of popcorn. Thank you, Syed. All right, so, okay, and yeah.
I'd also like to take this moment to recognize our candidates who are running for office. So just coming down the line here, I'd like to introduce Zev Cook, running for City Council District 5. Oh yeah, so they can see the back. Woo, Zev Cook, woo! Up next, we have Joel Bushnell, running for City Council District 5. Next, we have John Hines, running for Mayor of Tacoma. We have Anders Ibsen, running for Mayor of Tacoma. Next, we have Sandesh Sadalge, running for City Council, District 4. We also have Saman Chan, running for City Council, District 5. Up next, we have Brian Yame, running for Pierce County Council, District 5. Next, we have Terry Wise, running for Pierce County Council, District 5. Thank you so much for all of you for making your time here tonight, and to the incredible audience for your energy and enthusiasm.
Amazing. All right, let's jump right into it. So, very briefly, the candidate forum tonight. By the way, welcome to One Heart, Many Voices. And so this name, we came up with it because our community is so diverse and we embrace that. But we all kind of have the same goals. We all want the best for our families. We all have the same goals, but we sometimes express that in different ways, and that's okay. It's okay to have differences. And so that's the theme of the evening. So thank you for braving traffic. Give yourselves a hand for coming. Okay. Just very briefly, we'll jump right into part one, which is we have a set of questions based on topic, such as public safety, affordable housing, transportation, etc. And so our moderators are going to run through and ask the questions, but just a little bit about the rules is we're going to go through a series of questions, and each candidate will actually have an opportunity to answer each of those questions by category. And so we're going to limit it to 2 minutes per response. Okay. 2 minutes per response. But actually, we're going to be very, very tight on time, because if you see this gentleman right here, Sky, he's got that little drum. Okay, when he bangs it, Jeanette, how many times? 3 times? 3. When he bangs it 3 times, that means 30 seconds are left. And then when he bangs it, when he starts going crazy, that means 10 seconds are left. Okay? Oh, when he bangs it 1 time, sorry. I wanted him to go crazy. All right, so I think with that, Americus, anything else to add?
Just thank you so much again for your time. So we're going to be starting off with our opening statements for 2 minutes per opening statement. So for the first one, we're going to first call up our moderators also.
Hi, I'm Terry Wise, running for Pierce County Council District 5. and I've been a local businessman in Pierce County for 40 years and a resident. My profession is real estate and land use, and so we represent landowners and small business owners, helping them to assert their property rights. I'm running for Pierce County Council because of my expertise. Most of local governance has to do with managing our lands, right? So whether it's our comp plan, codes, permitting, all of that. And so I've been encouraged to run for this position because of my expertise. It would really add value to the council. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Yambe. I'm the Pierce County Council member for District 5. I am the proud son of an immigrant from Japan and a third generation member of Japanese American descent. I have been serving in public service for 11 years, formerly at the 5 City Council, trying to make sure that all of us can see ourselves in rooms where decisions are being made, and make sure that we have people who are community-minded, who are looking out for everyone who's not always at the room, and making sure that our representation looks more like the communities that we serve. And I'm honored to be here and excited to do this. Thank you for the invitation.
Hello, my name is Long Chen. I am a candidate for City Council Tacoma District 4. I'm running because I grew up in the neighborhood. I came here as a refugee in 1981. I was 2 years old. My family and I made our home in Salishan, east side of Tacoma, and the south end. And I've been walking these streets ever since. You know, I went to Lister Elementary, McElvey Middle School, went to Larchmont in the south end, and graduated from Lincoln High School. And now both of my kids are in the Tacoma public school systems. My son just graduated from Lincoln High School, just like I did. Very proud. Give it up for that. I was running for UW Tacoma, and I'm really running because for far too long I felt like District 4, the east side and the south end, has been left behind. I've seen it, I've witnessed it here myself, and you know, just being in a room where decisions are made, where our Cambodian community, our Southeast Asian refugees communities, where we are the third largest populations in this area, I think that needs to change, and that's why I'm running. And I thank you all for being here tonight, because you are engaged, and we're going to vote, right? That's right.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Sandesh Sadolge. I'm the current City Council member for District 4, which is the east side and south end, including Lincoln District. I, like many of us here, I'm a transplant. I was not born here, I was born in India. I came here when I was 6 years old. My parents moved to New York City. That's where I grew up most of my life. Mr. Tambera talked about being able to vote at 18. I couldn't because I wasn't a citizen yet. And I became a citizen later. And to be here in politics and represent our community is really important to me. I wasn't involved in politics. I had a degree in math. I was in corporate America for a long time. I decided to do this because after my mother passed away, I wanted to do something really meaningful. And this has been a hard job. And in this day and age, with what is happening on a federal level, it is really important that we have representation, especially on the local level. And I've been able to do some really meaningful things, even though they are difficult. And that's given me purpose in my life. And I want to continue doing that. So I want to thank you again for having me. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the forum.
Thank you to everyone for attending. Thank you to Nancy Lua, the APCC, for putting this on. My name is Anders Ibsen. It is a privilege to run to be your hopefully next mayor of Tacoma. I'm a lifelong Tacoma resident myself, born and raised here. I'm a small business owner, a father of a beautiful 3-year-old who's going to be 4 in just a few weeks. So happy birthday for Diwali. And from 2012 to 2019, I had the privilege of serving as one of your city council members. And thank you. And why I'm running is simple. This is my hometown, born and raised here. I love it to death, and I believe in it. I have seen the ways in which we have grown and done amazing work, like our waterfronts, like our international connections, thank you, Mr. Syed, among others, and all the work that we've done to grow some parts of our downtown, our art scene, Tacoma Creates, which Lou and others played a huge role in doing, which we definitely need to reauthorize. but I've also seen the challenge and the frustrations. Everything from housing instability, unaffordability, and now just the recurring problems that we're facing federally and just the tremendous danger people are facing. And I see a lot of familiar faces, some of whom I even visited at the door in this room. And for all the hope and all the belief that we have in our city, people are also feeling really tired. There's a lot of fear going on. And the solutions that might have worked in the past, I don't think are going to cut it. I think people are really demanding something bigger, more transformative, more visionary to face the problems of today. Whether it's the food insecurity that we're facing when SNAP gets cut in November, for example, to the recurring housing and affordability challenges, we need to go bigger, we need to go bolder. That's what this campaign is about, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Hines. I am the current City Councilor for District 1, which is the west end and north end of the city of Tacoma. And I'm running because I've always been a public servant, and it would be my deepest honor to serve this community as the mayor. Whether it was my earliest days in the South End, as a student at Stewart Elementary School, Stewart Middle School, or Lincoln High School, there's a lot of Lincoln alums in here, serving in Safe Streets and Youth Leading Change, mobilizing my neighbors to take control of neighborhoods and continue to provide safety amongst ourselves, whether it was my time as a high school teacher, working with young people, both as a teacher and coach, helping them figure out what they want to do with their lives and help them move on, whether it's my time in the school district now, helping in the Academic Equity and Access Department of helping young people navigate challenges and barriers and accessing the education they are entitled to my time on the council, really working and taking on some of the toughest issues that have been here and we're facing as a city. I think right now, more than ever, we need public servants in office who are there to serve the public and really lead the city forward in a way that is responsive to what people care about, taking on their biggest issues, and really trying to address the concerns I hear about every day when I'm out of the doors, walking around. I want to feel safe in the city, and how can everyone feel safe? I'm finding it too hard and too expensive to live here. How do we make it more affordable for people that are here? I want to not only find a job, but a career. I don't only want to start a business, but watch it grow and thrive. And so I'm excited about talking more about how I hope to do that as the next mayor, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Kalofa, mahalo, konbanwa, ni hao. I know a little bit. Kamsahamnida. Annyeonghaseyo. Thank you all so much, and thank you all for coming out tonight. This is really amazing, the power of the community out here. I'm honored to be your District 5 council member for the city of Tacoma, and I'm also honored to have become the first Cambodian American ever to be elected in the state of Washington. And as the first, I've really taken it upon me as a responsibility to serve our community, our ANHBI community, to make sure that I'm present amongst our community and make sure your voices are heard on this council and beyond this council to our elected leaders in the state, at the federal level, to make sure our concerns and our issues, we have a lot of economic development issues, public safety issues with Asian hate that is occurring. A lot of our elders are being attacked and don't feel safe in their homes. And so these are things that I bring to our other elected officials in higher office and things that I work to address on the Tacoma City Council. Just really proud to be here. It's been an honor to serve, and I really want to continue to serve our community. And I thank you all for the support and the continued working hard for you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the APCC to put on this fantastic event. My name is Zev Cook, she, her, and I'm proud to be running for the Tacoma City Council in District 5 as a Democratic Socialist to help build a better world for our city's diverse working class community. I originally became involved in community organizing here in Tacoma back in 2018, spurred by my Jewish values of Tikkun Olam and wanting to be involved with the work of repairing our community. Working mostly around the issue of homelessness, I spent around 5 years, including working professionally as a social worker, as a shelter manager here in Tacoma. That experience showed me how much needed to change at the policy level to win a city where housing truly is a human right. In 2023, I helped co-found Tacoma for All and played a role as field director on the Tenant Bill of Rights campaign to win the strongest rental protections in the state of Washington, right here in Tacoma. This past year, I was a rank and file member of United Food Commercial Workers, working as a fruit cutter at Safeway, and worked with my union to lay the groundwork for this year's Workers' Bill of Rights campaign to raise Tacoma's minimum wage and create other critical workplace protections. This year, I'm running for council to continue that work of building a city that is truly and deeply affordable for everyone. That includes taking on issues like passing our Workers' Bill of Rights to raise the minimum wage, taxing the rich to make sure that everyone pays their fair share in building our city, and building permanently affordable mixed-income social housing. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in this room to build that better future for Tacoma. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, candidates. All right, before we jump into the questions, you may be asking, well, who's going to go first? So we have a method that's completely unbiased. And everybody knows this, everybody did this as a child. So we're going to demonstrate rock, paper, scissors, all right? So let's go. Ready? Don't be late, okay?
Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's not how you do it.
That's not how you do it. So don't worry. Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, okay.
Okay, so Mary Chris had a stone, I had a scissor, so stone beats scissor. So we're going to ask the candidates for each race to do rock, paper, scissors to be completely unbiased, and whoever wins will go first, or you can defer, okay? Make sense? And then we'll just rotate it that way. We'll rotate it that way, all right? So who's next? The Tacoma City Council will start, okay? Yeah, moderators, please come on up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, can you stand up and do it again? One more time.
Come to the middle. Come to the middle.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
All right, you guys, no pressure. The first, our first panelist will be for City Council District 4. Let's welcome them up. Woo!
Okay. All right.
Does this mean he goes first next time or something? Is that what we do?
Oh, this everybody's closer.
All right, the first question of the evening is for you, Sandesh Sadagye. And the question is on youth engagement and services. What initiatives would you support to expand youth programs, mentorship, and mental health services in underserved communities?
That's actually an excellent question. We actually do invest quite a bit in youth services, but it's really not enough. We tend to partner with TPS in a lot of what we're doing. One of the things that's also really important is to have youth have a voice in a lot of our policies. And actually, Councilmember Rumba and I sponsored legislation to get more youth on those what are called committees, boards, and commissions. But we need to do more. We spent about $1 million in BRAVE funding that helps with youth violence reduction and go out there and actually talk to kids. We actually increased the amount of funding that we go through Tacoma Creates for youth-related programs. That was really important. That was a big thing that I supported. And quite frankly, our community's been telling us to invest more in youth. In participatory budgeting in District 4, the top 2 vote getters out of 12,000 votes was both cultural and heritage programming and youth programming, which is getting connected with youth. We do need to do a lot more than that. We are limited in many ways, but I think in these last few years, we've made a concerted effort, and we're going to see the fruits of those come to.
Thank you. I believe that community starts at home. If we want to reach out and engage our youth,
we have to have a stable home, and that works with the Workers' Bill of Rights, protected tenants who have rent instability and food insecurity. Last week, I went to Real Art for Battle of the Bands, and what I saw was a whole bunch of young kids, young teenagers from Soda who came together for one cause, and what that showed me was the value of being seen, the value of being exposed to a talent, and the value of a community that comes together and support these kids and their talent. So I grew up here on the east side during the 80s and 90s. How many of you here grew up in the 80s and 90s? Make some noise. I see you. Was it rough? Really rough. And a lot of us are here today, we're really fortunate, but what I've learned from my experiences, that being seen and being nurtured at home and in the schools and in our streets makes a huge difference. So what I would do is continue to support these programs that really show the kids that they are valuable, that they are seen, and how they feel and what they do matters. Because a lot of my friends who fell into the gangs back in the day wasn't seen, they was ignored, they wasn't supported at home, they weren't supported at school either, in public. So what they do, they find family. So if we can help these youth come find community in their community, that's what brings the youth engaged here. And I bet some youth here from Lincoln High School, make some noise back there. Thank you all for being here. This is how you engage youth when you're like someone who's from the community.
Thank you. And next question, Salome, you get to go first?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So with increased traffic and pedestrian fatalities, what steps will you take to improve walkability and expand public transit access across Tacoma?
Yeah, we have to look at our highest danger zone and do a lot of analysis and get feedback from the community where these dangerous corridors are. What I would advocate for is speed bumps, better lighting in these communities, and just sidewalks, because we all want the same thing, right? We all want our kids to be safe, to be able to walk or transfer to school, ride their bikes to school without feeling like they're in danger. So I would absolutely support advocating to build our infrastructure. Initiative 1 recently did not pass. The voters are strapped with money. They didn't want to pay any more taxes, but I felt where the city fell short was the communication on the benefits and the long-term investments. So that's what I would do, continue to reach out to the community and bring them in to see what the community needs in their communities and in their neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. This is actually a really important question. I've gone out and I have knocked on over 4,000 doors in my district. And the most common, it's not always the number one thing that people come up with, but the most common thing throughout the district, no matter where you live, is I don't feel safe on the streets. And so there are a lot of things we need to invest in. Some of the things that we are doing is we've taken 15% of what's called our REAP dollars for complete streets and sidewalks. There are places where we don't have sidewalks. I've biked all over the district, and it's crazy that you go to streets where you can't even walk on the sidewalk. Other things in District 4, one of the most important corridors that needs to be addressed, we have many, we have several, is Portland Avenue. We're literally losing people every year on Portland Avenue. We have a design grant that's going to reimagine Portland Avenue, and I'm going to fight to ensure that even with the chaos and turbulence that's coming from this federal administration, that we have the money to actually improve that road. That is a road where for generations people did not want to stop, so now you can go 60 miles an hour on it. And that needs to change. We need to undo that historical injustice. And there are other roads like that. And in order to do that, it takes investment, it takes advocacy, and it takes understanding how to navigate the bureaucracy that is the state, city, and federal system. And I'm learning how to do that, and I think I can do that really well.
Thank you, Sandesh. And next question is on economic development, and you can answer that question. What is your vision for supporting small businesses, especially owned by immigrants and people of color, in Tacoma's economic recovery?
Thank you. I was an investor and operator of a business here in Tacoma. And one of the things that I understand about the economy in Tacoma is it is not the economy of Seattle, it is not the economy of Bellevue, it is not the economy of Redmond. We do not have corporations that come here because they are just trying to curry favor with multi-billion-dollar companies. What we have are a few large employers, such as the military, hospitals, and even just the city and county government. But the fuel of our economy are the small and medium-sized businesses that are almost all are invested in by people who grow up and live here in and around Tacoma. And these are people who need help. For communities of color, it is about reducing barriers. We already have so much red tape, and then you add to that language barriers. I'm a big proponent of making sure that every single form we have is available in as many languages as possible, and I want to support people who can actually then translate it, interpret it, and then tell people, this is how you do it. Because we immigrants, we will do it once we understand what we need to do. We've all done it. Support like that is the type of support we need. In addition to that, it's also getting city leaders to come out to communities and actually talk directly with business owners, and I've done that in countless community meetings, getting directors, getting the police chief, getting other people to come out and meet our businesses because they don't know that they can talk to us.
So District 4, the south end and the east side, has the most immigrant businesses out of Tacoma. We have restaurants. We have the best Hispanic, Latino, Mexican restaurants. We have Colombian, El Salvador, all in our neighborhood. We have Asian grocery stores. We have Cappy's Produce. And what I would do is really continue to invest, create resources and opportunities for these businesses to grow. For example, when these businesses get vandalized, we should have funding to help these businesses get back up on their feet when things happen. Because crime is rampant in our community. It's either crime or opportunity. And to prevent crime, we have to create opportunity. And I also want to say that he came here to capitalize on a weed business to take away from our community. He's not here to invest in it. So what I would do is talk to each and every business and see what they need, because that's what I've been doing. I also own my own business. I run a production company that serves our community. And what I will do differently than him is really be in community and advocate for funding dollars to help these businesses grow. Thank you.
Thank you. And this one, we're rotating back to. So how do you plan to strengthen trust between law enforcement and historically marginalized communities, including the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders residents?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, public safety is a huge concern for us all. And what public safety means to me, I think everybody wants the same thing, right? Everybody wants to feel safe. Everybody wants the kids to go to school, go to the park without feeling the danger. But to me, policing has to be led with a justice lens, with transparency and accountability to the community. I believe that we should hire policemen who lives in our community, who gets paid their tax dollars, and not live somewhere in Bonnie Lake where they come here and harass our community and then go back and take their tax dollars somewhere else. I grew up on the east side of Salishan. We never called the police. You know why? Because police don't make us feel safe. But what we need is accountability. We need the Community Police Action Committee with more teeth so we can do some fair investigation and make it community-based. So I'm proud to let you know that I do have family member in TPD for years, the veterans who police with the justice lens that we all deserve, especially in District 4 and the east side and south end. So what I would do is just to continue to advocate and work with our community members and the police, because we do need police, but we need police who are transparent and accountable. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I grew up in New York City at a time of stop and frisk and stop and question. So I understand what it means because I have been stopped and frisked by police for being the wrong skin color in the right neighborhood. And so when I became council member, one of the first things I did was I actually went to the Community Police Academy, and I had some really, really, really tough conversations about police to kind of understand, how do you police today? And I think we're on the right track. We're not there, but we're definitely on the right track. And our immigrant communities asked me, when I became a council member, to come out and help them. New Interim Chief Patty Jackson, I said this to Interim Chief Patty Jackson, she has come out with me into communities and started talking. Our community liaison officers have come out and directly spoken to not just business, but actually our neighbors, because it's really important that we go to them. In this world where a uniform is looked on with fear, we need to dispel that fear with the Tacoma Police Department, because the Tacoma Police Department is actually there to serve us. But it goes beyond just that. It also goes into things that are called alternative response, because the police are not equipped to do everything. And I will continue to invest in our community service officers, our designated crisis responders, and other mental health workers that can come out, that can help address issues. And I have okayed lateral incentive bonuses to get rid of the shortage that we have, because one of the biggest trust factors is the fact that people don't show up. Well, people don't show up because we don't have enough police officers today. And we're about to hire 24 very experienced officers with clean records.
We don't need more police. Thank you, Sandesh. Thank you, Sunong. And that's it. For a big round for them.
Thank you. Wow, that's some great insight to who might be our next city council members for District 4. And now?
Let's move on to District 5 then. And let's come on up, please.
Come on up, Zeb Cook and Joe Bushnell.
Lots of microphones.
All right. The questions do not change. We'll start with you, Councilmember Bushnell. My first question is, again, youth engagement and services. What initiatives would you support to expand youth program, mentorship, and mental health services in underserved communities?
Yeah, thank you for this question. As the youngest council member, I get a lot of flack for that sometimes. I have taken it upon myself to really be engaged with our young people all across the city. I have gone into the classroom. I really want to make sure that our young people know that they can also be in a position like myself. I listen to them, I speak to them. There are challenges that our young people are facing that are different than the challenges that I faced when I was a child. I grew up in the Salishan area as well, and we did have problems at that time, and some of it stayed the same, but some of it shifted. I'm really happy and proud that we've invested over $1 million in youth violence reduction in the city of Tacoma through our BRAVE program, as has been mentioned earlier. But I also really supportive of Jobs 253, which we're investing in our young people at the high school level to actually develop skills to go off into the workforce. And it creates opportunity for our young people to learn, get placed at jobs, to get paid for it. These are paid. We have supported internships. I have been really pushing really hard for internships in the last 2 years. We've had internships at the city council office, as well as other parts of the city which we didn't have before. And I personally have taken on a shadow every single summer since I've been on council. I'm the only council member that does this. I take a high school student and have them shadow me through the summer, so that way they can have every opportunity to see what it's like to be in city government. I really want to make sure that we're centering our young people in all these conversations. We need to be talking to them. They'll tell you what they need. They'll tell you what they need. And I will say that I've had the opportunity to go to several memorials for our young people being killed. And that is far too many for us, and we need to do better.
Yeah, absolutely. The youth are the future for our community, and I think there's a lot more that we can do to support our youth, especially the safety problem is huge right now with us losing multiple kids to gun violence. I've talked with our teachers here in Tacoma, and what they've told me and what I support is that one of the best ways that we can improve the situation for our kids is providing them with more support, social workers, case managers in our schools. Not bringing in outside nonprofits that don't know our community, but providing training and para positions to adults from this community who kids trust. I'm proud to have the Teachers Union endorsement. And beyond that, there's so much more that we need to do to make sure that we can actually fund more para positions. But there are no more paras in our schools at this point. And that's something that we need to reverse and make sure that kids have the support that they need for whatever situation they're in. And going forward with kids exiting school, we need to make sure that there is, permanently affordable options for them in Tacoma and living wage jobs. That's why I'm proud to be playing a leading role in, fighting for and winning the Workers' Bill of Rights in Tacoma to make sure that youth can exit schools with real options for affordability. I'm 26 years old. I'm from the generation where we've been told that we'll never be able to own the home, that we need to tighten our belts and stop buying that next latte. But what it really means is that we need to fight for an affordable future, for housing, for good wage jobs. And that's the kind of future our youth need. Thank you.
Thank you. And this question, Zeb, you can start first. With increased traffic and pedestrian fatalities, what steps will you take to improve walkability and expand public transit access across Tacoma?
Thank you for the question. Transportation is a top household expense for families here in Tacoma. I think that there's more that we can do to make this affordable. I believe in fast and free public transportation for everyone, and I'm proud to have the endorsement of the bus drivers here in Tacoma. For me, what that looks like is fighting at the state level for progressive revenue for public transportation here in Tacoma and across the state. Right now, that's being mostly funded by sales taxes that put most of the burden on working families at a time where the cost of living is so high already. We need to fight for progressive forms of revenue to make sure that everyone in the state pays their fair share and that we can provide accessible, free public transportation to everyone in Tacoma. At the local level, there's also ways that we can improve this situation. I definitely think we should be expanding the light rail in Tacoma, especially into areas of District 4, the East Side, the Hilltop, District 5, areas that need it the most and are most lacking in public transit. When it comes to Pacific Avenue, where I live, we need to bring back the project to put in a rapid transit bus lane to make sure that people can traverse our district more easily and that we can make intersections safer for our city. This is a design issue. We need more roundabouts, safer intersections. Let's build that affordability, that safety, that accessibility in our neighborhoods.
Thank you for this question. We're coming up on Halloween. Last year, we had a young boy on 96th Street critically injured while he was out trick-or-treating. And so as we go out on the roads, we want to make sure that we're paying attention, we're not on our phones, and we're being safe. There's far too much speeding happening up and down this district. There's far too much infrastructure that needs to be built. And because of that, the cost is enormous. That's why I make sure to prioritize areas around our schools specifically. And as more funding becomes available, I would like to see those expanded. We have a lot of kids that still walk on the street. But when they're going to and from school, there's no sidewalks for them. And I support what's called a Vision Zero, which I believe zero traffic deaths and zero or critical injuries can happen a vast majority of the accidents that happen are human-caused errors. And one of the ways that we deal with that is to make sure we engineer our roads in a way that is safe for everyone to get to A and B however they would like to get there. Whether that is walking, whether that is taking the bus, whether that is riding their bike. Everyone should be able to get safely to where they need to be. And I think it's critically important that we continue to fund our streets. One of the challenges that we face as a city is the availability of funding for that. That's why I work really hard to partner with our state and federal delegations so that way money is coming in. During our last streets initiative for the last 10 years, we more than doubled our investments. So every dollar that we put in as taxpayers here locally, we got $2 back, more than $2 back to double that investment. And we still have a lot of sidewalks that are missing. We still have a lot of infrastructure needs done. I'm really proud to say that we've done a lot of work in the Larchmont neighborhood, along Wapato, Sheridan's being worked on right now, and a lot of other streets in our neighborhoods that really need that investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Then Joe will continue with the next question. It's on economic development. What is your vision for supporting small businesses, especially owned by immigrants and people of color in Tacoma's economic recovery?
Yeah, thank you for this question. This is a battle I've been fighting long before I was on council. I used to work for an organization called the Hospitality Association, and we worked directly with a lot of restaurateurs and other businesses in the community. And it was really important to me personally that I was advocating for our NHPI community, because when you look at our cuisine from a Western lens, sometimes what is normal practice for us might seem unsafe or unhealthy to others. And so there are some science things that we could benefit to learn from. But I also wanted to make sure that they understood that when we are fermenting something, that it's not necessarily bad, right? And so those are things that I take into account today as well. When I'm chair of the Tacoma-Pierce County Health Department, we need to really relook at our health code so that way we can account for all the different ethnic cuisines that we have out in our community. And along economic development, we need to make sure that we're supporting language access at all levels. That not just for how we support them at the business level, but how they can navigate through a permitting process. There's a lot of technical and legal jargon that's very difficult to understand, even as an English speaker, let alone someone that has to navigate that English might not be their first language. And so we need to make sure that we're getting that barriers reduced and making sure that everybody is supported, and language access is extremely important to that. Also, and not just language access, but culturally relevant. People need, especially staff and others, need to understand what businesses they're walking into and understand the cultures and customs, because they may say something inadvertently that would cause some problems. And so we need to make sure we have culturally sensitive as well, not just language access. Thank you.
Yeah, so when it comes to supporting our small businesses, which are really the heart and soul of our economy here in Tacoma, first of all, I support raising the minimum wage because a rising tide lifts all boats, and we need to spur stronger economic activity at the local level. Beyond that, especially when it comes to minority-owned businesses in our community, I've seen over and over again how many small businesses and small nonprofits have had to shut their doors due to retail rents going up significantly in our city. Now, in 2023, we passed strong renter protections for residential renters in our city. The city is now considering rolling that back after a proposal from Councilmember Rumbaugh. I think instead we should be looking to expand renter protections to small businesses here in Tacoma, especially when it comes to relocation assistance for massive rent hikes to help keep immigrant businesses where they are in this community rather than having to shut down due to these massive rent increases. Beyond that, I also believe we need to make a massive investment in developing social mixed-use housing here in Tacoma and make sure that we use the ground floors to make that available to small businesses, small nonprofits, especially prioritizing minority-run organizations, to make sure there's space that's available, that is going to be consistently rooted in our community, available to those organizations. Beyond that, I believe in programs like opening up a public option for grease disposal at the Tacoma dump, because we need to make it easier to run small businesses like food trucks in our community without having such high expenses and barriers for grease disposal. We can make that a public option here in Tacoma and support small businesses in that way and make sure that we build a better economy for all of Tacoma's working people and business owners. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The last question is community policing and accountability. How do you plan to strengthen trust between law enforcement and historically marginalized community, including the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander residents?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to public institution, for me, trust is really about accountability. I think that last year in 2024, our friends Maricrest, Salong, Latasha, and others on the City Charter Review Commission did a fantastic job of researching methods for expanding accountability measures here in Tacoma and creating a stronger oversight committee. They did a great job working on that, putting it forward to council. Council voted against sending it to the ballot. For me, I believe that when it comes to the work of the Charter Commission to create those strong recommendations for accountability here in Tacoma, I, as a member of City Council, would not stand in the way of democracy and would vote to put those recommendations towards the ballot, because I believe that everyone in Tacoma should have the opportunity to participate in shaping the future of our city, especially when it comes to safety and accountability. Beyond that, I was a big supporter of the campaign to win a non-police crisis response team here in Tacoma. Right now, that is significantly underfunded, and the new budget proposed is going to cut funding for that program even more. I believe that we need to fully fund non-police crisis response to make sure that we can respond to crisis situations with trained social workers rather than police, and we can increase response times for police in violent crime situations where they are really needed. When it comes to this overall, I believe we need a more accountable police department, and we need a police department that is focused on responding to violent crime and make sure that we can respond to non-violent crime and crisis situations with trained crisis workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Community safety has been my top priority since coming into office. When I first ran, folks would constantly tell me whenever I call, the police don't show up. Or if they show up, they're like 2 hours. It takes them hours to get there. When you call the police department, you expect a fast, professional, and accountable response to the situation that's at hand. I really want to make sure that we're working with our police department, with city leadership, to make sure that folks that are being bad actors are held accountable and that they are responding to emergencies in a timely fashion. We're really proud to support our community service officer program. Since that program's inception, we've seen response times reduced by 22 minutes. That means patrol officers are getting to calls in a much quicker way, and it also allows the right person for the right job to show up to a certain situation. Say, for example, we have a business that has been burglarized, and the culprit or the folks that did it are long gone. This is an opportunity for the community service officers to come in, take that report, and conduct some investigation, talk to the business owner or the folks that were on scene. That frees up a patrol officer to go for those emergency situations. And so there's a lot of opportunities to plus up on our community service officer program, and then also continue supporting our alternative response. I'm really proud that we are currently going through negotiations with the union to do community policing oversight. That's a really important process to make sure that we have accountability and oversight from the community level on our police department. And we need our officers, and our officers need us, and there needs to be a reciprocal relationship of trust and community building. They need to be able to show up and be accountable for their actions, but then also be able to support the community that's desperately in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, guys. That's it for District 5, ladies and gentlemen. Again, appreciate it.
Let's give it up for District 5. Thank you.
Wow, don't we have such an amazing group of candidates who are seeking to represent us? This is awesome. I want to give a quick shout out to all of the live translators who are in the audience, who are working nonstop to make sure that what is being said here is being understood in the community and being felt. So thank you so much. I see Phong Jenda, I see the Vietnamese community, Cambodian community, and we also wanted to shout out some.
Oh yeah, some of our partners, our media partners. We have Seattle K Daily here. We have Linwood Times back there. We have also KBS News, COAM, TNT, and Tacoma Weekly. So thank you all for coming out and being a part of this. So up next, we're about halfway done. So Pierce County Council, correct? Yeah. We'll start with Pierce County Council. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have up Terry Weiss and Brian Gomez.
Give it up for them. You guys ready for the rock, paper, scissors? Oh, okay. Terry, good job.
All right. So first question is public health and mental health services. So what investments would you prioritize to expand access to mental health care and substance use treatment across Pierce County?
So I think mental health is probably one of the weakest links we have as far as providing services for, right? It's hard to identify. It's, when you have mental health issues, it's not something you want to go talk about, and so we don't. What we need to do is we need to first make awareness, and then we need to make it a priority, right? We've got so many causes that we need to address, and some of them we do a good job, some that we don't do well at all. And frankly, mental health is one of those that we don't do well at all. What's that saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So if we can get in front of that, then we've got a much better chance of we're never going to fix all of it, right? But we've got a lot better chance of managing it, and because when they unravel, right, it's a disaster.
Would you read the question one more time? Thanks.
Yes. So this is public health and mental health services. What investments would you prioritize to expand access to mental health care and substance use treatment across Pierce County?
Well, I appreciate that question. I think at the county, thanks again for ABCC and all the partners for putting on this event. For mental health and behavioral health treatment, we're doing the very same things. We prioritize this particular county council. We prioritize making investments in mental health and behavioral health services. It's not enough. We've got to continue to do the work of not being punitive, but really providing opportunities for people to get the help that they desperately need. And it has to be culturally competent. It has to be a thoughtful approach that, the last thing we need is to make mistakes in the past and do our punitive and put people in situations and even lock people up who need a lot of help, and it will not go away on its own. But we need to do better, and we need to do more, particularly for populations of people of color and young people. So it's only growing worse, and we need to make those critical investments now and build it.
Thank you, Brian and Terry. Brian, we'll continue with you for the next question on regional homelessness response. And my question is, how would you improve coordination between cities and the county to address homelessness more effectively?
So I think that we're on the right track at the county. I have been appointed to a leadership group for what's called a unified regional approach, which is meaning that we're trying to build a coalition of local governments across the county working with stakeholders, former people with lived experience for homelessness, provide service providers, professionals, our private sector too, to really work together to find a deal and work it out so that all communities have a stake, because we all have a stake in this, and that all communities do their part, because this is not just Tacoma's issue, this is not just Fife's issue, it is not Lakewood's issue, this is all of ours. So this is a unified approach to really get on the same page as everyone, so we're not repeating the same things and doing our own things in silos, and that we're really working to make a cooperative deal on how to tackle this as a whole with everybody doing their part.
So I think most of us here recognize that the homeless issue is getting a lot worse, not better, right? And one of the things that I talk about a lot is the beginning of, or knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. So we have to have a knowledge of the facts. What's really the core of the problem with homelessness before we can figure out how to solve it? And there's basically two philosophies. One is the housing first model, that homelessness is strictly not enough roofs, right? And if we had enough roofs, homelessness goes away. The other philosophy is that the homelessness isn't because of lack of roofs. It's because of a lack of family, community, and hope, right? And so when somebody is homeless and we put a roof over their head, but they have a drug issue, they have alcohol issues, they're likely to be back on the street the first time they hit a bump. So we have to be able to provide those wraparound services, again, mental health services, drug services, what we call the wraparound services. And if we look at the Pierce County programs as they stand now, they have about a 26% what they call a success rate, which their success rate is measured by if you're living under a bridge and a year later you're not living under a bridge, that's a success. That's a pretty low bar, right? When we look at some of the communities throughout the country, the Austin, Texas First Community Village, their success rate is 90%, and that's someone living in a home, paying rent, contributing to the culture. So 90% as opposed to 26% with a much higher bar. Let's try to duplicate that, right? So let's get to the real solutions for the problem.
Thank you. The next question is land use and growth management. And Terry, how will you balance development with environmental protection and community input?
Well, I think balance is the right word, right? We're in this pressure. We have a housing crisis, right? A normal market has 6 to 8 months of inventory. We have a less than 2 months inventory, right? And so we've got to be able to provide housing. We've got to be able to provide affordable housing. And with some of these environmental constraints make housing a lot more expensive, right? So what we need to do is we have to have a balance to say, how do we protect our environment and with things that really provide results, and that we can balance that so that we can keep housing affordable. I got 2 kids that can't afford to buy a home now, right? The median price range home is almost $600,000, and they can't afford that. And we've done studies that show that by reducing excessive regulatory costs, getting, frankly, the government out of the way, that we could reduce the cost of a median price range house by $150,000 to $200,000 per house. Can you imagine if the house that you're looking at today for almost $600,000 you could buy for $400,000? How many of you or your kids and your family could afford to buy a house? And that's where having experience and knowledge of the facts is where real solutions can occur. Because frankly, people are just well-intended, but they don't know how to come up with policies that really provide results because they just don't have a knowledge of the facts.
So as the only renter on the Pierce County Council, I am intrinsically aware of how difficult home ownership is as millennials and young people continue to see how hard it is to do this. There is one thing that we have made a lot of mistakes in the past. One of them being decision makers at Pierce County and those who have been in positions of influence did this building our communities in sprawl, building things that had no connections to services, no connections to more roads and access to the most important services that people need. And we are dealing with trying to get ourselves out of those bad decisions and bad planning and bad developing. And so, one of those things is that we know that home ownership is further out of our reach, but what they don't say is that yes, we can cut the red tape, this will make things cheaper, but the cost to building new things, new houses, brand new single homes is only going to get more expensive because labor is going up, and currently with our federal government and the system with tariffs increasing the cost of goods, in order to build those, it's getting even further and further. So it won't ever be cheaper in those respects. What we have to do is make sure that we're investing in things that are helping bring jobs here, helping invest in our communities, not chasing people out, especially communities of color, who are really have had the backs, development built on the backs of us, and we can't even live in these places that we work. And so it is extremely important that we are doing these thoughtful decisions and making sure that we're thinking about everyone and not balancing some of this on communities of color especially. So.
Thank you so much for your time. Can everybody give a round of applause to our two candidates?
Okay, thank you everybody for being patient, and we're down to the finale of our mayoral race, and we have John Hines and Anders Ibsen with us, so yeah.
All right, they're going to take it away, and...
Yep, rock, paper, scissors. All right. Democracy.
All right. Thank you so much. So this round we have 2 questions. Same time, 2 minutes. All right. The first question, Councilmember Hines, is housing affordability. What specific policies would you champion to expand affordable housing and protect renters?
All right, so I think when we talk about 2 parts, how do we expand housing opportunity? So the biggest thing is we did Home in Tacoma, which allows more housing types and more places in our city. So really leaning into Home in Tacoma to kind of take care of some of the permitting issues, take care of some of the financing issues, so more people can build more housing in our community. And we're talking about all types of housing, from the ADUs to the smaller apartments, to single-family homes, to the bigger apartments. We need more housing in our community to really address some of the need as people are moving here and families are growing. I have 2 young children who one day I hope will move out and find a place to live. So Home in Tacoma is part of it. We need to continue to invest in our housing trust fund, because I hear a lot from people that the housing that we need is really affordable for people who can't pay market rent. It needs to be more plentiful, and that's investing dollars from the state and the city to build more kind of permanently affordable housing and workforce housing in our city. And then the next level beyond that is just how do we increase the fact that we need more kind of just entry-level home ownership opportunities, more townhomes, more condos, so people can build equity in their homes and have that value they can carry forward to kind of create that generational wealth we haven't seen. When we talk about how do we protect tenants, we have pretty robust tenant protections here in the city of Tacoma that we're looking at specifically just around the idea around some of our nonprofit housing providers like the Housing Authority, the YWCA, and the Low Income Housing Institute. There have some challenges around it, but I think we need to look very closely at our protections and making sure that 1, we're keeping more people housed in our community, but 2, making sure some of our nonprofit housing providers can survive and continue to provide the housing that we desperately need, which is for people with kind of lower incomes or middle incomes in our city.
Okay, so question to the audience. Who's going to guess what the average entry-level house in Tacoma goes for? That's financeable. Can anyone guess or shout out? $400,000 is a financeable entry-level house in the most affordable neighborhood of Tacoma. Who do you know who can afford that with today's mortgage rates? Okay? So I absolutely concur. I don't think there's anyone on the stage who doesn't believe in making it easier to build or to redevelop. We need that. I think it's commendable the progress the city has made with issues like Home in Tacoma and all the corrective work that we can do. But the fact is, we need to make sure that when we're creating affordable housing, actual Tacomans can live in it. That's something that's really, really important, okay? Because the average Tacoman is not going to rent in a one-bedroom or studio apartment downtown for $2,000 to $2,500. That's not something that we're going to see more than likely. They're not making any more 1980s Lakewood duplexes, right? So making sure that we're very sensitive to the creation of new rental spaces that actual Tacomans can afford with families and being very sensitive to those gaps in our policies. And when we're looking at home ownership opportunities, making sure that not simply making more of a starter home type of homes a possibility, but ensuring that when you actually do try to offer them, you're not just beat up by a cash buyer or an investor. That actual homeowners, actual first-time homeowners using down payment assistance or VA or FHA home loans actually have a bit more of an advantage to build wealth and not just have someone take it from you. So that's something that I think is really part of the gaps. And then finally, thinking more imaginatively. These things are all really important. We all really need to do more with what we have in terms of our policies. But let's keep in mind that we're here because housing is a commodity. And how can we reverse that by introducing alternative models to supplement what we have? So things like social housing, for example, taking a look at alternatives to simply housing as a commodity that can actually bring the cost down for more people so that when we develop our community, it's not at the expense of others, but we can grow together.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Anders. And this is the final question of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Anders, we'll start with you. How will your administration ensure meaningful inclusion of Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, Pacific Islanders, and other communities of color in city decision making?
So for me, inclusion is about power. It's not just a box to check. And I think what's really indicative of how I intend to govern is how I've campaigned. So ever since I started this campaign, January 2nd, walking all the Tacoma neighborhoods, I myself have personally visited over 16,000 doors in all of the Tacoma neighborhoods, the majority of which have been south of 6th Avenue. And I want to inject that same kind of energy into City Hall so that our relationship isn't transactional. It's not just me or members of the council or members of the city staff coming to you when we want, fill in the blank, votes, money, support for an initiative, but making that relationship building nice and boring and consistent so that we're showing up and asking you what you need and how we can consistently provide that. And inclusivity means a lot of things. It means everything from boards and commissions and things with actual authority, actual decision-making power. It means refunding the participatory budgeting that the city cut in the last budget cycle, for example, so that people in our communities actually have a real voice in how money is spent to benefit their own communities. It means hiring, but besides hiring, it also means retention and growth. It means that we're not just simply hiring people from marginalized communities or from non-traditional communities to be part of the city workforce, but creating an environment in which you can actually make the city government your home and actually prioritize those kinds of growth opportunities for real leadership and empowerment. And finally, reducing barriers to working with the city when it comes to contracting, when it comes to opening up opportunities for our youth with things like project labor agreements and apprenticeship utilizations, so that when we build as a city, we're actually building everyone up. We're building wealth for the entirety of the community, and we're not having a brain drain of talent. So inclusivity is about power, it's about inclusivity, and it's about showing up consistently, not just when we want stuff from you.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I spent most of my career working in education and working with populations historically marginalized to get them access to the education that they are entitled to. And when you take that approach of thinking about people are entitled to access and how do you remove the barriers is the type of work I would take to my time as the mayor. It'd be starting first and foremost, as my opponent has mentioned, being in the community and talking to you folks. Talking to people and understanding what are your issues, but not in a way of just like, what do you care about, but more in a focused way of what I know you care about. I know you care about your businesses and are they safe? I know you care about your streets and can you walk from your home into your park safely? I know you care about what happens with your seniors during the day. I know you care about the community and do you feel welcome here and do you feel like the city is reflective of you? I would start the conversations with what I already know about these conversations I've had over the last year and a half walking around the city talking to folks. And being grounded from those positions, what I already know, not asking you again to repeat what you said, but really being grounded in what I've heard, talking about, as we said, how do you get this group to be more reflective in our city leadership? How do we make sure every commission, board, and committee is reflective of the population? I didn't get asked the question about how we make sure our police department works better with the community. How do we make sure that our police department reflects our community, that it looks like our community, and that it lives in our community? How do we make sure that the people who care about you know you and live near where you are? As someone who's born, raised, lived in Tacoma, works here, and serves, it is deeply important to me that people we have leading represent our city and serve our residents. And I want to see that too. And I think the conversation around the boring conversations about always being there, I don't want to wait till something pops off before we have a conversation. I want ongoing conversations with the community to understand what the issues are so we can address them early and have you help co-create the future we want to see here in our city.
John Hines, candidate, thank you so much. Round of applause to all of our candidates. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Let's give another big round for our candidates.
Yeah, it is not easy to be up here in front of so many people, so we're just so thankful to all of you for your precious time. It's election season, so every second counts, and we're just so grateful for you for taking this time to be here with us in community.
Yeah. So how it's going to work is we're going to go into we're in the final stretch. We got part 2 coming up, right? And then before we do part 2, let's all welcome Morado traditional Korean dance team is here for you for special performance. And then how is the lightning round going to work?
So right after the intermission, so feel free to stretch, dance also while they're playing, but don't go anywhere because there's going to be a lightning round where your questions that you submitted, we're going to try and go through as many as possible. Each of our candidates will have 30 seconds each to answer each of your questions. So we're excited. We've gone through them, and we're excited to have the audience ask those questions with us today. So down under, just stretch, and let's welcome them on stage.
Yeah, let's welcome Morado. Can we give our moderators a big hand to Alice Fong and Saeed Jamal? Thank you so much. Could we have all the candidates head back, please? All the candidates, please come back for round 2, lightning round.
Thank you so much. Welcome. That's your voice. Thank you so much. You made up. That's fine. We make a, well, wait a minute. Awesome. Stand. But this time we have 27, 28.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to our One Heart, One Voice candidate forum. So if you could please take your seats and welcome back to our lightning round. And how it's going to work is each of our candidates will have 30 seconds to answer each question. We have 8 total, so we're hoping to get done quick.
Okay, remember 30 seconds per question per candidate, so we can get through these. We got a ton of questions, so first of all, thank you to the audience out there for submitting your questions. If you have an absolute pressing question that you feel like you just need to ask, this is your last chance. Bring it, give it to one of our ushers, and bring it up, and we'll make an exception. So this is your last chance, but again, 30 seconds. Okay, so Mary Chris, please kick us off. We're just going to go down the line. Yeah.
This one is from, thank you. Also, I just want to give a huge shout out to...
Mary Chris, sorry. We're going to change up the timer, so the drum will go off at 10 seconds left, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then I just want to say thank you again to all of our live translators who collected and translated your questions for us. So can we give them a big round of applause for making sure that democracy is accessible? So the first question is written in Vietnamese and it's translated into English. What specific plans do you have to help seniors who are waiting very long for safe and affordable housing? 30 seconds.
Well, it's hard to cover that in 30 seconds, right? Really, affordable housing, again, comes down to reducing the cost to build, right? The more it costs to build, the more expensive the housing. So whether it's senior housing for the homeless or the average everyday person, right? It's about reducing the cost, and that's first and foremost.
Thank you.
So I think that's, seniors and housing. I think one of the things is having the county makes investments in trying to help do repairs so that people can, seniors can live in their house a little longer, utilizing some of our state taxes for senior exemptions and really trying to publicize that, the availability of that. And then keeping seniors in mind when we're developing policy and making accessibility to services and food more accessible. So.
Thank you.
Everything that Brian said and raise the wage.
The voters of Tacoma allowed a 0.1% tax for affordable housing. Part of that went into developments such as Patsy Shore Place that APCC did. We have one more like that in Yakima that's coming, and another one near Stewart Heights. I want to continue funding programs like that.
So new construction is important, but this is kind of a yes and. But what's going to be far cheaper and faster is repurposing on top of new builds. So what that means is how can we allow for more multi-generational housing? Because that's what I'm seeing as a housing specialist, and it's very common in a lot of cultures, is family members of different generations buying together. So how can we get our planning commission or board of building appeals to make our code align more with what we're already seeing and make it even more affordable and just better for people to experience?
All right, two things really quickly because you have 30 seconds. Number one is continuing to invest our dollars from the Housing Trust Fund to build more housing like Patsy Siricano Place, which is in the Lincoln District, so more affordable housing for seniors is permanently affordable. Number two is continuing the work like I've been doing on the ADU Accelerator Program to allow homeowners to build accessory dwelling units faster so people can age in place, seniors can stay in their community and stay connected to their community. So I really look to push those two policies further and faster as they can.
Thank you. Our seniors have gone through so much, and so it's really important for us to make sure that we're taking care of them. And it's really important that we continue to support our Affordable Housing Trust Fund, as has been mentioned, increasing the supply of housing, as well as making multi-generational households something that can be done. But we also need to make sure that we're connecting our seniors to livable community centers and spaces so that they have enriching lives.
Homelessness is definitely expanding amongst our senior population, and for all of us, housing continues to get more and more expensive. First of all, I support maintaining and expanding renter protections in our city that keep seniors in their homes. And on top of that, I support permanently affordable mixed-income housing development, and we have to fight at the state level for more progressive revenue to fund senior services in Tacoma and across the state of Washington.
Let's give them another round of applause for that first round. And I just got a note that if you have a Ford Focus, license plate CTF1349, you're blocking another car. So please move your car if you have a Ford Focus. Next up, Sam.
Okay. All right, it gets harder and harder, these questions. All right, we'll start from, how about starting with Zeb first, and then I'm just reading it exactly as I see it. How do we ensure repeat offenders are not back out on the street again? So talking about public safety.
So first of all, I support therapeutic courts in Tacoma. I think that if we don't want recidivism, we need to support people coming out of jail and prison and make sure that they have options to be reintegrated into our community with good jobs and housing options for all. And that's what I would be focusing on, making sure that we have those programs funded at the state level to support reintegration at the community level.
It's really important that we're making sure that we're supporting people coming out of prison. If they've committed a crime and they've been held accountable for it, we need to make sure that we're continuing to support them. There is multiple houses and programs, even in my district, that I've been able to visit and talk with folks to get them the support they need. They need to have jobs so that way they don't reduce the possibility to reoffend. Thank you.
No, I think I would agree with most of the folks said here is once people are entangled in the criminal justice system and either coming out or are part of it, how are we making sure they come out better, more prepared, more likely to succeed? So therapeutic court, our mental health court, working with the county and their behavioral health court, felony drug court, and making sure we're connecting people to the services they need so they can grow, so when they come out, they're less likely to come back to crime and have recidivism and find success.
I think you'll find broad consensus here about prevention and reducing recidivism. I mean, that's really how you do it, is by making sure people actually have a future and have alternatives to just a criminal career. But also prevention, making sure that kids, before they even offend for the first time, have real opportunities in terms of actual employment opportunities, housing opportunities, and especially for kids in situations like aging out of the foster care system, for instance, or kids who are housing insecure in our K-12 system. How can we make sure that they're set up to succeed so we're not just reacting to problems, but solving them before they become problems?
Similar to a lot of what everyone said, on the city council level, we have not as much say, in fact, no say over jails, but we do need comprehensive wraparound services for everyone before you interact with police and even after, to give the support to people who are willing to improve themselves can have that chance.
Yeah, I echo what everyone said, but one of the biggest things when I visited the Monroe prison a few months ago, they have a lot of programs that you can get your AA, get your degree, there's podcasts in prison, so I would really support a lot of these programs happening in the prisons, because when we say repeat offenders, when people come out, we have to give them support so they don't recommit these crimes.
So I think all the points that have made there, I agree, and I think that we do at the county need to invest further in our alternative courts, therapeutic courts, drug courts, veterans courts, and services to boost people who are, to help give them jobs and reduce recidivism, and a program like that. But it's also, the county has a lot of facilities that we haven't funded and invested in, so that are going way past their age, that we need to boost those and invest in our court system, because you can't just arrest people and not give them the trials in a fair, timely manner, and we need more resources for this.
So again, understanding the core of the problem, when we look at jails and prisons and their populations there, they come from a very, very high percentage come from broken families. Often in men's case, it's a lack of a good male role model in the home, a father, right? There was a piece years ago called Fatherless America. So really, we need to get to the core of it and address family, right? And if we can do that, provide those mentorship roles, then that's going to go a long way to raising these habitual criminals.
Thank you so much. Let's give them another big round of applause. And as we move forward, I actually want to thank you for that, to remind the audience, actually, we're not going to clap so we can just get through this lightning round. And then at the end, we're going to clap for all of our peeps, so we can get through as many of your questions as we can. So next up, starting with Terry, we have, despite years of unreasonable delays with no scientific study done, the South Tacoma Groundwater Protection District Code was updated to have less protections for our drinking water than before. So question for previous council members, why did you allow that? And question for potentially new council members, what are you going to do to correct this terrible outcome and push back on further inappropriate streaming of approvals for development within the critically sensitive areas? Thank you.
Boy, that's a lot to answer in 30 seconds. So any development that's done goes through a pretty rigorous series of tests, including water usage quality, how much water we're using. The Department of Ecology oversees that. And so I'm not familiar with the specific that they're talking about, but it's really, again, using the best available science to determine if in fact we're using too much water.
As I was appointed 9 months ago and trying to get familiarized with everything, I will say that everybody deserves to access clean drinking water, and our building and development need to be thoughtful and intentional and follow the policies that we have. And in fact, some of the policies need to be even further, I think, improved upon to balance the needs of development, but also thinking about the communities that are affected, and oftentimes it's communities of color. So that needs to be at the forefront of our policies. I think that they're making great strides with the county majority, and I intend to build on that and further that work. So I appreciate the question.
Yeah, I will look deeper into the issue. I'm not too familiar with it, but I will commit to and ensure that the community voices is represented when the decisions are being made going forward about environmental justice. Thanks.
One of the details of being in a council member is there are processes that need to go through, planning commission, public hearings, etc. We also have state and federal laws that we have to adhere to. We actually added additional protections that never existed. I understand that the person who asked wanted more. We are limited in exactly what we can do by land use codes on a higher level.
So I'm one of the hats I wear is I'm a board member of an environmental protection nonprofit who actually goes after polluters. So making sure that on the one hand we're following the rules that are established by state code and so forth, but just making sure that we're providing as much transparency and as much certainty for everyone in the community, all stakeholders, including residents, applicants, business owners, just so that people know what they're getting into and that we know that we're balancing economic development with our future, which is our water.
My point, I think I'd probably push back on the question just a little bit. We did pass pretty robust protections of the groundwater protection district. It's home water has been very clear that our water is safe and protected and clean, and we will continue as through that groundwater protection district that's been in place since 1984 to continue to add protections to make sure it continues to remain that way. And I do think the balance we have to strike is really balance state law, federal law, and ideas of how we grow the green economy in South Tacoma while protecting our water.
Thank you for this question. I was a leader in creating the updates to the South Tacoma Groundwater Protection District. Underwater storage tanks are no longer allowed. Expansion or building of car crushing facilities are no longer allowed. So there's additional protections that are going, more monitoring is going on for our water wells. And we've been working with the health department with the health impact assessment and everything. So there's that. Thank you.
We're just blocks away from where the mega warehouse project is being developed, which is going to damage our groundwater, increase rates of asthma and congestion in these neighborhoods. And we can't talk about these kinds of harmful development projects without talking about the legacy of redlining and environmental racism in our city. I support a vision for development, which is absolutely something that needs to happen, but it needs to be rooted in community-centered justice, and we need a strong climate commission here in Tacoma, which is something that the current council refused to move to the ballot.
Big round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's keep this going, starting with Zev. There's a concern about ICE indiscriminately arresting who they suspect as being illegally here and detaining them. What should be done to protect ourselves from due process, etc.?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely horrified by the kidnapping of our neighbors and have been involved at the community level around rapid response programs and programs to deliver groceries to immigrant families who are too scared right now to leave their homes. At the city level, we passed protections that prevent local collaboration with ICE, but we need leadership that is dedicated to enforce those protections, and that's what I'll be on our city council.
These issues with immigration has happened long before Trump. I'll be plain and clear about that right now. And it's really important that we as city leaders are protecting our residents as best as we can within the laws that we have. Our police does not share information. When we close the loophole with Councilmember Sadolge, we close the loophole where city departments also do not share information with us. And so we need to do everything we can to protect ourselves from this government, but this has been happening long before Trump.
Yes, I would go to 2 points. Number one, in the state of Washington, the Work in Washington Act, our police department is not allowed to work with immigration customs affairs, does enforcement, and doesn't share data. Councilman Stolgate did close the loophole, so no city staff members are working with ICE or sharing information. I think that's really clear, but I agree that we need to be clear with leaders and working at the federal level, working with federal partners to do things like make ICE identify themselves and take off their masks through federal policy, which is something I support and would like to see.
So let's be clear, this is not just about illegal immigration. They're coming after citizens too. I spoke with someone who was a lawful green card holder at the GEO facility. He was in the country legally for 6 years. They took him out of citizenship here. Okay, this is about the rule of law and protecting your constitutional rights. And yes, we have to make sure that we're doing everything we can under current rules. Let's push for some more forceful rules too, and not only by ourselves, but in conjunction with our peer cities and community partners like yourselves.
Due process is really important. As my colleagues said, I actually wrote the resolution and got it passed unanimously to close the loophole and ensure every single department in this city does not voluntarily assist ICE. That was really important to me as the only foreign-born immigrant on this council and the first one in generations. I have been a strong voice against this, and I will continue to be.
He's lying. There's no loophole. The Keep Washington Working Act is a state law that's already been implemented. Basically, what he did was say Me Too. But immediate action that we can take is all the white people, when you see ICE activity, bring out your phones, put your bodies on the line, and that's how we protect our immigrant communities.
So at the county, we passed the resolution to say, hey, that reaffirming that we are following state law and Keep Washington Working, saying that we do not use public funds to be spent on immigration enforcement, and we got rid of the discriminatory Real ID, not Real ID, but the program that made you do some extra documentation to find out if you're going to work for the county or not. And I will continue to fight back any efforts of any elected official or sheriff or anyone to try to circumvent those and do cooperation with the federal government, which is a federal issue, not a state and local issue. And so as long as I'm on county council, I will work to protect all of our communities and also people living in fear. They will not cooperate with law enforcement, and that's a problem to everyone, not just immigrant communities.
This is a question that take a heck of a lot more than 30 seconds to properly address. I don't think I have anything more to add than what's been said, but we're obligated to follow state law. We're also obligated to follow federal law, and where those conflict, of course, that's between the state and federal, and I think that question needs to be addressed. So again, I don't really have anything more to add.
Thank you so much, and let's give them another big round of applause for answering our questions. Our next lightning round question will be, how much money is allocated to community directly impacted by gun violence? How would you be accountable for how this money is spent? Have you or your family been impacted by gun violence?
Not directly, but indirectly, all of us are affected by, violence, whether it's gun violence or any other violence. Again, this is not a question that could be properly addressed in 30 seconds. What we need to look at with gun violence is, again, the core of the problem, right? Is it the guns? Is it the person behind the gun? Let's look at the core before we come to solutions.
So as somebody who has been impacted by gun violence, and I had a childhood friend, and I think many of us have had people who we know personally who have been affected by gun violence. And I think there's people across the District 5 who have, and investing further resources into violence intervention programs and programs for kids and youth to make sure that we have productive things for them to do, and further investments in communities of color because these have been disproportionately affected by those effects. And it's a very big problem, and I'm all for common sense gun policy. So.
Yeah,
I've been affected by gun violence throughout my life. My first experience was when I was an 8th grader. One of my friends got shot when we was just riding our bikes home from school. I've been shot at. I've been in drive-bys. So, what I would do is get into experts with community members and organizations who've been doing this work and increase funding and investments in the youth.
I've had personal experience with gun violence from my time growing up in New York City, where I couldn't be dismissed from school because on more than one occasion because of a homicide outside. I've been affected by gun violence in my house here in Tacoma. There have been 3 homicides within 2 blocks of my house in 3 years. The answer to your question is we don't fund it enough, and we need to prioritize additional funding, especially on youth.
Yeah, a man was literally shot and murdered a block away from my house a year ago. So yeah, that's personal. I spoke with a lady who teaches at Lincoln High School as part of this campaign, and in the last 2 years, she lost 4 of her students in her classroom to gun violence. So yeah, it's something that's really on people's minds. So on top of the programs that we know work, and making sure that we're doubling down on things like summer late night, prevention programs, social emotional intelligence, I really like more of a public health approach where we're working more with the county health department and ensuring better data sharing so that we're helping kids be set up to succeed and have alternatives to violence.
Yeah, not 30 seconds, not enough. My mom worked on the street at South Tacoma Jewelry and Loan. She robbed the gunpoint multiple times. She refused to work with pawn shops and sold weapons because she'd been robbed so many times. The biggest thing for us is how do we continue to invest in youth violence prevention, which people have talked about. We don't invest enough. I think it's over $1.5 billion. But I would also say we need to look at how we can get community violence directors involved in the conversation, so people who are in the community, who work with community members, can get involved and stop gun violence before it escalates.
I've been personally affected by gun violence. Not only have I been shot at, but it was during the war. There's too many young people that have access to firearms. And we do need to take a public health approach to this, and we need to make sure that we're following the data and removing access to firearms all across the board. There is a weapon stolen out of a vehicle in the city of Tacoma every 2 days. It's way too many.
Yeah, gun violence is a major issue in the community. Like anyone living in the South End, hear them going off all the time in our neighborhood. This is especially an issue for our youth, and when it comes to our youth, like I said before, I absolutely support stronger support for para-educators in our schools and social workers. Also, when it comes to youth getting involved with violence, that's often because they don't see a future for themselves, and that's why we need to make sure that we're providing good union jobs for young people and options for affordable housing. Let's focus on addressing root causes and taking that public health approach.
All right, let's give another hand for our candidates. I have this note here, it's written in all caps. Everything is so expensive. It's hard to cope with the current economy, high prices. This is coming from elders, students, the homeless, those who need regular care. Please talk to us. What are some real solutions? Starting with Zen, please.
Yeah, the cost of living has never been higher, and next month, where many of us are losing SNAP benefits, our current council majority is responding to this by rolling back renter protections and letting your rent be increased. I think that we should be focused on issues that make our city more affordable and make life better for working people, like raising the minimum wage, taxing the rich to fund critical services, and building permanently affordable social housing. We need a more affordable community, and I believe that we can win it together.
The cost of living in the city of Tacoma is way too high, and there are a lot of factors that are beyond the city's control. Something that we can do control at the city level is raising the wage, which I support. We need to make sure that we're supporting our seniors, which are on fixed incomes, and others, folks that are disabled. We need to continue working with our state and federal partners to make sure that they're continuing to fund things like SNAP and other benefits that our community relies on.
One of the things the city does control that I think we need to take a look at is our utility costs. So how much you pay for your power, water, garbage, sewer, and wastewater. Those go up every year, and they continue to pinch people who are on fixed incomes. And that is something the city has direct control over, to where we could work to keep our rate increases down so it's more affordable in this community. A lot of other things take a lot more time and are out of our control, but that is something that I'd like to see us do and we can do.
So there are a lot of moving parts here, but if you're looking at some of the biggest ones like food and housing, for example, when it comes to food, and as has been mentioned, a lot of people are going to be losing their food benefits soon. So how can we work in greater concert with local stakeholders and community groups to ensure a food security plan so that we can build resiliency so people aren't going hungry? And then when it comes to housing, can we take a little bit more of a regional, more methodological approach so that we're prioritizing keeping people housed rather than just cleaning up the same homeless encampments time and time again? We could have much more efficiency and actually help more people that way.
In addition to smart and well-researched policies that can help raise wages all across the city, including the minimum wage, I think after having been in this role, I realized just how regressive our tax system is, because we basically tax poor people to help poor people. And I've become a huge proponent of progressive tax sources in order to alleviate that.
When cost goes up, it never ever comes down. So what we do is we need to tax the rich, so everybody pay their fair share, so we can supplement programs like free child care for everybody. So you can alleviate the cost of child care. We need free access to better health care. So one way to alleviate costs is to tax the rich, so we can fund and invest in programs that uplift communities.
So as a county, there's very, it's hard direct nexuses between reducing the cost of things, but I think it's addressing the, housing, allowing people to stay in their homes, having affordable housing, but also availability of childcare, which this council majority has been making strides in trying to make sure that we have more available and more accessible and affordable. And then it's also going down to addressing food insecurity, which is growing in the 5th District. And we, just lost our friend Meyer, and so working with our food distribution places and our nonprofits, and really working together because the federal government is cruelly continuing to abdicate its responsibility. So it's about understanding how our system works and making sure that it's working for all of us, especially those who are just getting by. So improving those systems.
So our country was founded on a limited government, right? And there's a reason for that. This idea that we need to look to the government for all the solutions. Right now, to get a building permit to build a house in Pierce County is $40,000. That doesn't build one stick, one brick, anything. That's just to get permission to build a house. I could spend the rest of the evening here talking about all those excessive regulatory costs that we can continue to raise taxes, raise minimum wage, and we're still falling behind. This is the pace that we've been on. How's it working, right? How's it working? Do we feel like we have more dollars to spend? More and more of our dollars are going to fund government and taxes, that we need to do exactly the opposite.
Let's give them another big round of applause. Thank you so much again. And it is unfortunately that time of the hour where we reached our final question. All of the questions that we've received, we're going to type them up and we're going to email them to you guys. You can feel free to respond to us with your questions too. I know 30 seconds is really hard, so thank you so much again. Let's give them another big round of applause. And we have our final question, and it's signed by Malachi Cabrera. How will you uplift younger people to run for office?
I may not. I don't know. I think someone's crazy to run for public office. This is nuts. So I don't know that I would encourage them to. But we have an obligation, right? We have an obligation to serve. I'm doing this not because I want to do it. I'm doing this because it's necessary to be able to serve, right? And so that would be my message to the youth, is you need to be part of something bigger than yourself. And when you do that, you have a lot more meaning and fulfillment in your life, right? So it's not because you want to do it, it's because it's really an obligation to serve.
Well, You know, as somebody who's got elected, 11, 12 years ago for the first time, I realized quickly that, it's up to each of us in elected office to ensure that we have good leaders coming in and making improvements and maybe thinking a little bit more creatively than the generations from before. And so really uplifting, run and serve on boards and commissions, and really helped try to give people a good start to that, and have helped many different candidates of all stripes get elected. And so, I think that's what we do for the next generation, is encourage support and provide opportunity, and that's how we get a good generation of leaders.
Yeah, I truly believe it's so important to uplift and include the youth in every single aspect of our lives and our community. So when the youth is interested in running for office, any office, where it be parks like Malachi over there running, you can give a round of applause. And how you can uplift him is to donate to his campaign. And but what I've been doing is bringing young folks and talking to them and showing them that we can do this. And one of the biggest things is what I believe is representation matters. So with folks like me who are stepping up and running for office, people that grew up in this community see themselves reflected in me. So that's one of the ways.
One of my first jobs was actually as a high school math teacher. And I realized that it's really important to show up. I've showed up to a number of schools in my district and talked to students, and I asked them what do they want to do, and let them know that they can do that, whether it's in politics or not, and explain what this job is. And I also supported a resolution that increases and makes it easier to have emerging leaders on our committees, boards, and commissions.
Well, I was 25 when I first became a city councilman back in 2011. And so a lot of people back then, predictably, just thought, oh, that's cute, you're a little kid. But there were a few adults who did believe in me, among others, and just paying it backward as well as paying it forward, and actually believing in the people who want to stick their neck out. But more importantly, also just asking, why don't more young people want to step up and get involved? And I think, honestly, it's just having a more credible system that actually proves its worth to them. I mean, young people have it so hard. They have lower life expectancies than the prior generation. They have it worse objectively. Let's make it better for everyone, and then youth will find more relevancy in the system and get more involved.
All right, so as a former high school teacher, this is something that really means a lot to me. So 2 things I'd like to see. Number 1, expand the Mayor's Youth Commission, add more people to it, and think about having to do a concrete projects that they actually deliver on. Number 2, I'd really like to start a program called Rise Up Tacoma, where we take young people, we place them on nonprofit boards, we place them on our boards, commissions, we give them training, and we train them to be the future leaders of Tacoma.
This is very near and dear to my heart. Senator Rosa Franklin, who I consider a mentor for myself, said you always need to build a ladder behind you and not lift it up away from others. And so it's really important to me since day one. I brought in a young person into city council offices every single summer. Anybody that wants to come to me and to be a mentor, I have mentored multiple young people. And it's not just about helping them, it's also helping them get onto certain boards and positions as well. They need coaching through those processes, and I take that very seriously.
I'm 26 years old. If elected this year, I'd be the youngest member of council, as well as only the second openly transgender person to be elected to public office in the state of Washington. I didn't take a traditional path into politics. I'm not a business owner. I didn't intern in the legislature. Last year, I was a union fruit cutter, and this year I'm living paycheck to paycheck, mostly as an Uber driver and office assistant. I think if we want young people to get more involved in politics and running for office, we need a situation where we aren't stuck working 2 to even 3 jobs just to get by. We need time to live our lives and be involved in our communities.
Thank you. This isn't a question, but maybe just perhaps to close us out for the evening, maybe just a quick word of encouragement as to why it's important to vote. Because a lot of my friends and people that come to me and say, I asked them, well, did you vote? And they said, no. And I said, I asked them why. And they said, well, because my vote doesn't matter. So maybe just within 10 seconds. And just as a reminder, in the back there is our voter education booth. We do have forms there in that back corner. So it is actually late to register and vote for this coming general election, which is next week, November 4th. However, if you want to fill it out, you can submit it directly to the county auditor office. Okay? So if you submit it directly to county auditor office, it'll still count. But of course, it'll roll over to the midterms elections, which is next year. Mary Crest will close us out, but maybe just a quick word of encouragement, why it's important, maybe not just to vote, but to get involved in our community. 10 seconds, please.
Absolutely. I think it's obvious to most Americans that our democracy and government has been dominated by the interests of the billionaire class. I think it's more important than ever that we don't just get involved by voting, but get organized, and that's why I'm a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America. We need to fight for working people together at the ballot and everywhere else.
It's important to vote, but it's also important to be present in your community, get to know your neighbors. And one of the ways that you can have your voice heard is through voting. People have fought, bled, and died for this right that we have in this country, and we need to make sure that we're upholding that and continuing to vote and support that. A healthy democracy has a healthy electorate that's voting year after year after year. Vote in every single election. Your voice does matter. It does matter.
No, the thing I've always heard is, of the United States of America, half the population votes, and of that, half of them only vote once every 4 years. So every year there's elections where important things that really impact your lives are happening. The stuff that day to day touches you is what you can vote for. And I agree with my colleagues and everyone else up here. It's not just voting. Please show up and vote, because if you vote, you matter. But beyond that, also make sure you're involved in the community and take the steps beyond just voting and have your voice heard in multiple places.
So I'd like to put this on its head. I think instead of shaming people for not voting, I think the better question is, how can we be worthy of you voting more? What can we do to make politics and elections and government more relevant to you, and to prove that these things can actually work when you get involved? So that's my pledge to you, is to make this thing more worthy. Also, just a bit of a plug. If you are voting by mail, USPS is having some serious delays, so if you're not voting tonight, use a drop box, or your vote might not count. Make sure your vote counts, all right? Thanks for voting, everyone.
I understand that it may feel like, especially on a national level, your vote doesn't count, but on a local level, it absolutely does. These our low voter turnouts have very small margins of errors, and I agree that not only should we all vote, we should also engage with our elected officials regularly.
You know, growing up, I was one of those that felt like government doesn't work for us, that our vote doesn't matter. But I encourage you to vote today and going forward, because government don't work for you unless we make it for you, and you got to vote for the people that make it work for you.
I'm not going to lecture the people in this room who know how hard it is to sometimes become citizens or get the right to vote, but you know, it is your voice. There have been too many elections at the local level, which I have seen, that have been decided by 10 to 11 votes. And for those people who say that my vote doesn't matter, you just watch those and see how directly different that things are. Sometimes they're decided by a couple hundred, and so you know, your voice is through your vote. And so don't forget, even when things get depressing and things feel like, you know, out of hand, you vote, and then you show up and be present just like you are tonight. So thank you for being here, and don't forget to vote.
So my dad raised me that if there's a problem out there and you don't do anything to fix it, that you're part of the problem, right? And he also said, if you're not willing to be part of the solution, then you lose your whining rights, right? And so when I talk to people and they're whining about how bad things are, I ask them, did you vote? No. Well then, again, you got no business whining about it. So if you want to have your whining rights, folks, vote.
All right, no, thank you so much again, everyone. And, you know, just to add on to that, you know, as we close together, not everyone has the rights that you have. We all have neighbors who are immigrants or refugees and who don't necessarily have that ability to vote. And so it's so important. So as we close tonight's forum, and I want to just make an amendment, you know, Sam had said it's too late to register to vote, but here in Washington State and in Pierce County, you can still actually register to vote up until the day of the election. So you can go into that office, Pierce County Auditor Office, submit your form, register to vote, make your voice heard. It's not too late.
Sorry, let me clarify. So for new registrations, that's what I meant. The new voter registration.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say, come out. So, and then, yeah, I just want to take this moment to express the deepest gratitude to each and every one of you, to who made, and then to everyone who made this evening possible. Let's give them a big round of applause. Especially big shout out to all of our interpreters and translators who came up and translated the cards into different languages. And to our local leaders and organizers who worked together so that everyone in our community could take part fully and with dignity in this forum. And I want to encourage you that the conversations, even though this forum is ending, the conversations don't end tonight. This is just the beginning. Stay involved, stay informed, keep building that relationship because you never know who's going to become the next representative of our community. So we are all part of Tacoma, we're all part of Pierce County, and we want to make sure our voices are heard. And this gathering reminds us that democracy is strongest when everyone has equal access to information, voice, and understanding. May we continue to build a community where participation is possible in every language and belonging is felt by all. So thank you, maraming salamat, and good night, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, one more round of applause for our candidates, please.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.